Hello and welcome to Metal Vice, a podcast where we talk about all things music.
Well, the things we care about.
Right, which is live music and metal music mainly. I'm your host, Brian, joined with my other host,
Karen.
And Karen, what are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about the Chicago open air that used to be in the suburbs here.
Yeah.
In the area.
There were 3 years, 2016, 17, and 19.
19, yep.
We'll get into why there was that sort of break or why we think there was that break in 2018. Yeah, 2018.
Yeah, 2018. Yeah.
But yeah, let's just go ahead and dive right into this. So the first one was July 15th through the 17th of 2016. It was at Toyota Park. It was Toyota Park at the time in Bridgeview, Illinois. I don't remember what we paid for tickets. I have a note on here that says see year 2. When we get to year 2, we'll bring that up. I'm assuming it was roughly the same price.
Probably about the same, yeah.
And we just got the normal 3-day GA
Field
tickets.
pass.
We didn't get VIP or anything along those lines.
We just did the field pass.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because you could get the field or the bowl,
Yep.
Which is sort of the seats within the stadium there at Bridgeview at Toyota Park. So let's get into it about 2016. And let's talk about, I have on here Potbelly's lunch.
Yeah.
It was a Saturday when we sort of met at Potbelly's after work. You worked at a bank at the time, so when you got done, we met there to have lunch and sort of talk this over. And I can't remember how we found out about this. If it was me who found it and told you who found it told me, or both of us sort of individually finding it and like being super excited together. But yeah, we stopped at Potbelly's to have lunch and to talk this over to make sure like if we can financially pull it off, because at the time we were really shitty with money. So it was like we have to move things around to even make this work. But the headliners of this that we'll get into, like, it was enough of a push for us to we want to go to this.
Yeah, we hadn't been to a show since 2009.
That's a good point. This was our first introduction back not only to metal music. For me, this is like my reintroduction back into metal, because I had fallen away, but it was also our first live show.
Back into live music, yeah. Because, I mean, especially since we moved to Chicago, we hadn't seen a show. We'd been here for about a year, I think.
Yeah, this would have been a year and a month, because we moved in June 2015.
Yeah. So. But when we found out about it was during the winter.
It was cold, I do remember
weren't
that.
Quite here a year, I guess, when we found out about it. But I remember seeing it. I was waiting for the bank to open, or for the person to get there that can open the bank, and like I don't have a car or anything, so I was just standing outside looking at my phone, and I don't know if I was on Instagram or Facebook, but I think Disturbed shared something, which we'll get into. But when I looked at the lineup, I was like, oh my gosh, these 3 bands, or the 3 headliners I think were announced, maybe others were announced by then, but the 3 that were announced, I was like, oh my gosh, we need to go see this. I think that's when I text you like, hey, can you meet me after? Like, I want to talk to you about this like now.
Okay, so you found it on either like a Facebook or Instagram post, and then you shared it with me.
Yeah,
and then
it was probably Facebook, because I really didn't do Instagram back then. So.
And you've mentioned it already. Disturbed was a headliner.
Yes.
Your favorite band at the time.
My favorite, like back then, I only listened to Disturbed in Linkin Park. I did not listen to anything else. So
yeah, Disturbed, like your favorite band. Slipknot, one of my favorite bands.
Yes.
So it's like those 2 alone, it's like, holy shit, like this is the perfect concert for both of us.
Yes.
And then the icing, the cherry, like the biggest selling point other than those 2, Rammstein. Yeah. Like, I had been wanting to see Rammstein since I found out about them, and they just don't come to the States that often, or they didn't at that time.
Right.
And I always said, like, if they come to the States, we're going to do whatever we can to go see them. And they did come one time before this, right?
I mean, they came before, but like the one time that we almost came was, I think, in 2009, 2010 time period. We still lived in Grinnell at the time, and we were going to come with a group of friends from the grocery store.
But same thing, like we just financially, like we couldn't pull it off.
Yeah, like, I mean, if we came, it was going to be literally like we buy tickets, the cheapest tickets we could find. We drive here and drive all the way back to Iowa.
Yeah.
At night, and not stay anywhere, not do anything. Because we had just to get gas money to drive from Iowa to Chicago would have been everything we had.
Yeah, and I mean, so like this is the time, those 3 headliners, and like finally being able to see Rammstein.
Yeah.
Like, all right, let's try to make this work.
Yeah.
Let's meet. Let's
Yeah.
talk it over.
I can't even remember our whole conversation of how to make it work, but we made it work.
We made it work.
I don't remember how that all happened, but
yeah, probably making sacrifices of some sort and
Yeah.
saving money and shit, and just like, all right, we're gonna go do this.
I think that was also like when we were able to make that work. It's when I was like, oh my gosh, we should prioritize doing things we want to do.
Yeah.
Instead of just work and work and work. Like we need to.
Yeah. And buying like little shit that we don't need.
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah. And we lived in a little teeny tiny ass apartment at the time, and it's like we didn't need anything. We, you know, had everything that we could fit in that place, and it was like, you know, we just need to do the things that we want to. Which I was so happy that we made this work. If we didn't, I would have probably had huge FOMO or whatever you call it.
Yeah, I regret that we didn't go for
Yeah.
sure. This would have been one of those ones that like, oh my god, we could have gone to see this festival and we didn't go. And I'm the same way. I'm happy we made it work. I'm happy we went. Like you pointed out, it was my reintroduction back into metal because around 2010ish, you know, right when I got done with college, I think it was, or maybe in the middle of college, so like 9, somewhere in there, that 2009 to 2011, I stopped listening to as much metal as I used to, and like getting into like the indie rock, the alternative rock, the folk rock, sort of all that kind of other music. I started diving into that, even like rap and whatnot.
You
I
did,
sort of went in that direction.
And I just didn't listen to music.
Yeah, so like now metal, once again, this is my primary music I listen to. I listen to all that other stuff still every now and then, but like metal's my go-to now. And really it was this festival that brought me back into it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And like you said, or like we said, not only into music itself, but into live music in particular. Like this was the jumping off point for us to like, let's go to a lot more concerts.
Yeah. And I think after this show, we did go to a lot more I mean, like I said, I think a lot of it was financial for us of like, can we afford to do this? And then that's when we're like, let's prioritize the things that we want to start doing in life.
So let's just dive right into day one.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Day one's kind of weird.
Yes,
okay.
Day one is weird.
Okay. I didn't know how far, how you wanted to dive into this.
Yeah. So,
this is kind of weird to me. I didn't expect this person or this band to be first.
Yeah, so the main stage started with Trivium.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Now looking back, it is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, we've seen Trivium headline and open.
Yep.
But it's like, they're the first. I mean, so that means that they got like 25 minutes.
Yeah, so.
Like, the first, I don't know. That's just so weird to me that they were that low.
Yep. Looking back on it, maybe then, like, I don't think they were starting out right then. Like, I think they'd been around for a few years, but that does seem weird to be the first for them. Like, I do agree they should be higher up.
I mean, maybe there's other festivals that happen around that weekend, so maybe they had another engagement, so they were like, hey, we'll come, but we need to bounce
because we have a long...
I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of for them to be so low.
Yep. So Trivium first on the main stage, then Hollywood Undead, In This Moment, Of Mice and Men, Ministry, Chevelle, and Rammstein.
Yes.
That's the main stage. Second stage, Through Fire.
I don't know who Through Fire is.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up.
Butcher Babies.
I forgot Butcher Babies.
Drowning Pool. What is that? Periphery.
Sorry if that's not how you say that.
Hatebreed, The Devil Wears Prada, and Meshuggah on the second stage.
Yep.
What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say I knew that we saw Meshuggah at one point in time. I just didn't know where.
Yeah, we have seen them, and that's where they're also, I think, on year 2.
On year 2, okay.
For that, but we'll get to that. We missed a lot of these bands.
We did. We did.
You have Of Mice and Men on the main stage highlighted as when we came in.
Yes, and I remember that because you thought it was a different band. I don't know what band you thought it was.
Yes.
But you're like, oh, I want to go see them. And as we were walking in, they were playing, and you were like, but this doesn't sound like them.
Yeah, it was a lot heavier than I was expecting. It was like, oh wait, no, I got this completely wrong.
Yeah. So that's why I have that vivid memory that Of Mice and Men is when we finally got there.
Yep.
So.
And I do remember you seeing Ministry and loving Ministry.
I did like. I liked Ministry.
And then,
Chevelle, I remember not liking.
Oh yeah, I do remember that too. I liked Chevelle a lot. You didn't.
Yeah, but now I like Chevelle.
Yep.
So it's kind of.
The second stage, I don't remember that much. I don't think we were out watching much of the second stage.
I don't think so because, I mean, if we got there of Mice and Men, I know we saw Ministry. We probably walked around then, so we probably saw like Hatebreed and The Devil Wears Prada maybe. Meshuggah, I don't think we saw it all the first year because after Chevelle, I don't think we left the stage.
I think you're right. I think we, around Ministry, we kind of
found our spots.
Kind of found our spot and just stayed. And I think because we wanted to have a decent spot for Rammstein.
Yeah. Because
we knew it was a show. Like, you want a good view for Rammstein because they're putting on a show.
Yeah.
And we weren't too bad from a location-wise, if I remember right. Like,
oh, no, I couldn't see anything.
I know you couldn't, but it was fine for me, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we were ahead of the sound stage, if I remember
we
right.
were, yep.
So, I mean, we were on the first half of the stage, or the field, so.
And we were on stage left.
Yeah.
Yeah, stage left at the time for this one.
Yeah, on the field, too.
We were on the field, yep.
Yeah.
But...
Do you want to go into why we missed
well, let's go into why we missed everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's not... We didn't mean to miss them.
Yeah, like we said, we were super excited for this. It was our first festival. We wanted to go check it out. Like, all these bands, I wanted to see Hollywood Undead.
Did you? Yeah.
They're a act I don't necessarily like or want to seek out when I listen to music. I'll do it every now and then, like very, very rarely. But I wanted to see their performance, and we missed it. I was kind of pissed we missed it, and I looked at like comments on Facebook or something around the time, and just people being like, Hollywood Undead was awesome. They killed it. And it's like, fuck, I wanted to see their performance, and maybe that would improve my view of the music. But the music at the time, and a little bit now, it's not necessarily my favorite thing, but every now and then I will listen to it for sure. But I was upset we didn't get to see them, and we still haven't seen them yet. I would like to see them again, but or not again. I would like to see them. You want to see them?
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, so a few days before this was the weekend, right? It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday show.
Yep. Yeah. At the end of the
At the end
of the week.
Yeah.
Well, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sorry.
We got a hotel. We were staying out there. And walk. It was a pretty far.
It was like 3.5 miles.
Yeah. We ended up walking.
We didn't have a car, so we didn't have a car at this point. So when we finally were able to go out there, we took the Orange Line to the airport.
Yes.
And then took a bus from the airport to the hotel, like right outside the hotel. Yep. I like stopped at like the Target that's out there or something. And so then we would walk. Then we got off the bus and then walked across.
And I remember this because it was rush hour too.
Yes.
So the bus was going so fucking slow. We were on the bus for like
an hour and a half.
And it was pissing me off.
You were playing Pokemon Go or whatever.
I just learned Pokemon Go because I just came out that week, and I started playing Pokemon Go in New York, like that Monday before. Yeah,
which is why we were late.
So, for work, I went to a conference in New York, and it was supposed to get over, I think, Wednesday.
July 13th, which is our anniversary.
The day before, I think.
No, it was July 13th.
Was it?
Well, that is Wednesday, because the 15th was Friday. So you were supposed to get home on the 13th, which was our anniversary.
Oh, okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
The 14th, we were supposed to go see Book of Mormon.
Yep.
And then we were supposed to do this.
So, after the conference, I get to the airport. I think I was supposed to get home on the 13th at night. Yes, because the conference got over that Wednesday, like 1-ish or something like that. So I took a 7:00 flight, get back home 11 or so, something along, whatever the timing was.
Sure, whatever the time. Whatever it was supposed to be.
We get on the airplane, sit there for a little bit. We don't even leave the terminal, I don't think. I can't remember. And I think we sat there for like 40 minutes to an hour, just sitting there in the plane, which is hot as fuck. Like, because the air's not on, it's not moving. It's the middle of July. It's a pain in the ass. It's so warm. And then they come on, they're like, we have technical difficulties, issues with the plane, mechanical issues. We can't fly tonight. Sorry. I have to get off. Everybody makes a mad dash to the service desk to like rebook their planes. The woman I get that I'm talking to like rebook the flights is telling me, well, there's one tomorrow, but you'll get into Chicago at 8 or something along
Yeah,
those lines.
it was like it was after the play had started.
Yeah, so it was, the flight wasn't direct. You had to go from New York to Boston, Boston to Chicago, and it was like a 5 or 6 hour layover in Boston before that
Sure.
plane came back. And I was like, I can't do that. We had tickets to Book of Mormon. It's for our anniversary. I can't make that work. Is there anything else we could do? And she's like, well, there is one direct flight from New York to Chicago. I can get you on that. It's one. You'll get in like 5 or 6. I was like, that's going to be close. I can quickly get from the airport home, change, go to Book of Mormon. We can still do our anniversary thing we wanted to do. Cool, let's do that. Next day, get on the plane. Pilot comes on. He's like, hey, there's some really bad weather coming in. We're going to try to take off before this weather hits. Start taxiing out to the runway. Weather hits. Fucking downpour of water. And we sit there for 2 hours on the plane, like out there just sitting there. And eventually the weather clears. Pilot comes back on. Well, the weather cleared. We've gotten the okay to take off. However, I have reached my flying hours while sitting here for 2 hours. We can't fly. Takes us back, and they have no other backup pilot, no other plane leaving to Chicago. Can't get home tonight. And I call again to get like rebooked, and this was American Airline, and the response I got when I talked to the woman was, well, you were already booked on this flight to Boston to Chicago, and you didn't take that. Why did you change your flight from that to this one that you were on? I was like, they put me on that while we looked for other things to guarantee me a spot so I can get home, but that wasn't going to work because I have an anniversary engagement. And she's like, well, hindsight, you should have taken that one, huh? And I was like, fuck you, American Airlines. I'm never flying this again, and I still haven't.
No, we haven't flown American since then.
The very next day, finally was able to get on. I went to the service desk that day, and I was just like, I'm boarding group 5. I explained the situation I was in, explained everything. I was like, is there any way you can put me on boarding group 2 or something that guarantees that I'll be able to put my bags on the plane? Because the thought was, I'll put my bags on the plane. Because if you didn't, you check your bag, and then you have to wait for the bags to come.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want to get off this as soon as fucking possible because I want to get to this festival. And so that's why we missed like half the day. And we didn't get there until 5 or 6 almost?
Yeah, it was later in the day. I don't know what time, because I think it starts at 1. So yeah, it was probably 4 or 5.
I mean, because the bus was during rush hour. I do remember that. So it was like 4:30 or something.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what time we got there, but yeah. Long story short, that's why we missed the beginning.
It was
like festival, which then also had us both in a mood where I was in a mood of, I was excited you were home. I was excited we were finally there, able to do this, but then I was still pissed how the whole week went.
Oh, same, 100%.
So it's like it put us in that, like in a mental mood of, and I think that might be why, like between Chevelle and Rammstein, we just didn't leave because we're like, we don't want to deal with this.
Yeah.
Like, let's just stay here. We're here. We wanted to see Rammstein, so I even told you, I was like, if you can get there by 8:00, we'll be okay. And
that was my biggest fear at that point. It's like, there's no way I'm seeing Rammstein now.
Yeah.
The band I had been waiting to see for fucking ever.
Yeah, because we had seen Slipknot and Disturbed. So it was just like, you wanted to see Rammstein. I mean, we both wanted to see Rammstein. So it was like, you have to be home by 8:00.
Yeah, and it's like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're here to talk about...
Yeah, let's talk about the concert.
We're finally fucking at the concert.
Yes.
So, like... It was awesome being there finally. I was a bit of a sour mood. It was kind of a dreary day, I remember. Like, it was very overcast that day.
I thought it was perfect. I just remember the weather being perfect.
The weather was nice,
until
but
Sunday night.
It looked very... I remember it being overcast. At least I think I remember it being overcast.
I don't remember that. Maybe. I mean, it did rain that week. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of remember that. We walked around the field a little bit when we first got there also. The venue was really... really nice. I liked how they had it set up.
Yeah.
So it's in a stadium, which used to be where the Chicago Fire, the soccer team, played. And that's where the main stage was on that field with sort of, the seats being that, and then the field being
they call the seats the bowl.
The bowl,
and
right,
then
right.
The field as GA.
And then on the outside of that, they had these big hills. Like you had to go up a bunch of steps to get up there, but they had grass hills that you could sit on. And the second stage was off in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Not too far away. So you could walk up there and see the bands on the second stage. Or if you just wanted to sit, you can sit on that hill and hear and see the stage, which was really nice. I liked that setup. I loved how it flowed.
Yeah. And then they also had like food trucks.
They had a bunch of food trucks. Kuma's was there as well.
Yes.
Because they had a Slipknot burger they made for the event.
Yep. Yeah, they had Kuma's, Connie's Pizza. Everybody has Connie's Pizza.
Oh, do they? I don't remember that.
Yeah, because I remember we'd only been here for a year. But like every event that, like we went to a lot of street fairs that first year that we were here. And everybody had like the deep dish pizza. And they're walking around eating it as a like slice of pizza. And I'm just like, okay, when I eat deep dish pizza, I like cut it up.
You have to have the fork and knife.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not picking that thing up. And so I remember having the conversation about the Connie's Pizza. I was just like, how are these people eating this? But
yeah, but they had that wall of food vendors, the food trucks, the Bruges Brothers, which was the fries and the duck fat. I don't know if they were there both years or if that's just year 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the second year.
So a lot of this sort of blends together for me.
But they did have like a Zippo tent.
They did have a Zippo tent. Yep. We have
probably some alcohol tents we didn't check out.
So they had one big alcohol tent.
Well, Headbangers.
It was the Headbangers tent. I can't remember if it was a Headbangers ball or what, but it was one big tent where they had sort of the specialty or unique beers. So that's where you'd get a lot of your IPAs, your non-Bud Light, Coors Light shit.
Yeah.
That's where you'd go and get that.
Yeah.
It was shaded, which was really nice for the next day because it was hot as fuck.
It was hot the next day.
And they had pinball machines, which were free to play. And it was like the Kiss, the AC/DC, the Metallica. I don't know what other pinball machines they had, but it was all like the music and metal themed pinball machines that they had.
Yeah.
That you could just play for free if one was open. I enjoyed that tent quite a bit. Like the beer was good. The pinball machines were awesome. It was shaded, which was fucking awesome. We spent a decent amount of time there. Not a whole lot, but we spent some time there.
Yeah.
What else was there?
So there was a music tent, which I want to say was FYE.
FYE, yep.
Was it FYE, or am I making that up?
And I remember that being there the second year, but not the first.
Oh, okay.
But I can't honestly remember if it was there both years.
I thought it was there both years. And also I think that's where they would do like artist signings.
Oh, yes, they did. I forgot about that.
We didn't do any of those.
And right next to that was the entrance to the VIP section, which once again, we didn't have.
We never did VIP, so.
The VIP got you that section, which had like your own private bar. I think it had maybe your own private restrooms.
Probably.
But once again, like this was because it was a stadium, they have the stadium restrooms also.
Yeah, you don't have to use the porta potties.
So there's no porta potties. And I kind of don't remember if there were porta potties.
There were porta potties down by the on the parking lot area by stage 2.
Okay.
But like we just always use the stadium restrooms.
Okay. Merch was down there somewhere too. Like I got this shirt. This is the only shirt we got at the time. Once again, I'd fallen out of metal music, was getting back into it. I had gotten rid of all of my band shirts, so I didn't have any band shirts left.
Yeah, I had a couple Disturbed shirts, and that was it.
I didn't want to get a band shirt either, or a festival shirt, because once again, I wasn't wearing it. It wasn't sort of my style at the time. This, I thought was really cool. It's a soccer jersey. We're at a soccer stadium. I thought that'd be really cool. So, and then on the back, it says Open Air 16 for 2016. We had talked about and hoped that maybe next year they'll do like a red version with 17.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool. I have seen this shirt out in the wild a couple of times at shows. Like somebody will have it on, or I took it a couple times. And somebody point like, oh, Open Air, that was awesome. But yeah, what else was down there?
I think that was all I remember.
Okay, same.
There's probably more, and I'm just not remembering it.
So we were talking a little bit about the VIP section, what we thought you got, or what we remember you kind of sort of getting. The other thing you got was you're supposed to have a private or a VIP section for viewing.
Yeah, it was like a little corner of the stage, or corner of the GA section.
Right, and we weren't quite sure what that meant, but when you go into the floor of the main stage, this little sliver on stage left, I believe it was, where you could stand, and it wasn't that big, and it was off to the side, and I was like, that sucks.
Yeah, we both were like, that really sucks if you paid VIP and that's what you get.
And I don't think many people. And Upheaval was basically that same way this last year with that sort of little slipper. Theirs was much bigger than what Open Air had.
But not really for standing. It was full of
lawn chairs, yes.
So really the standing section was really, really small and you couldn't see the stage.
Yep. And I was like, you're right. That was like, that sucks. That's what your VIP is.
Yeah.
I don't think I remember it being all that full. I think a lot of people were like, fuck this, let's go in the main area.
My whole thought of having it be off to the side like that was mainly in my mind. I was like, I feel like if you're in the center, you can see the stage better.
Yep. But
then again, like we've been to concerts now where we do kind of stand off to the side and you can see just fine. So I don't know what would be better, but.
So we've bought in, so like we said, this was our first festival. We didn't know what to expect. We've been to a few since. And
I have to say, in 2016, there'd be no way we could have afforded
a
VIP ticket.
No. And what I was going to say though is we've bought in VIP tickets at other festivals. Upheaval and Riot Fest are two main examples of this, right?
Yeah.
Upheaval's VIP section, we were like, this isn't worth the price you pay. This is not good.
There's nothing there.
Nothing there, and they get like 2 air-conditioned porta potty, basically. The trailer bathrooms.
Yeah, but it's not like, it wasn't like at Riot Fest where you get like...
Right. Riot Fest, they had a fuck ton more of those.
Yeah.
The area you all get is so much better. You don't get any stage access with Riot Fest.
No, that's true. Yeah, not with the VIP we did. There is like the upper
like
VIP.
the cabana shit.
Yeah, that you do get the main stage access.
I don't think I'd ever pay for that, even if I could. Like, fuck that. No.
No.
But the point I'm trying to make is some VIP I think is worth it. Riot Fest is worth it. Even though you don't get that special viewing, the bathrooms and the lounge area, and they had a lot more food and bars to choose from.
And then that shaded area.
And that shaded area was like, Riot Fest VIP is awesome and 100% worth the money.
I would agree.
Upheaval, not at all worth the money, I don't think.
No.
I think we didn't do it, but based on my memory and based on what we've just described, I also don't think Open Air's VIP was worth it.
No, not with everything. I mean, not with the stadium bathrooms and like all the bars that you had. I mean, the stadium had all their bars open too, and they had people walking through the crowd selling stuff. Yep. So I mean, you really don't like. That's what you like about the Riot Fest is the food area at Riot Fest is horrible.
Yeah,
like if you go to the general, like waiting in those lines and stuff is horrible. So if you with the VIP, it's like you do have a couple tents that are just for the VIP, and then you also have just the bar just for the VIP, and you never have to wait.
Yeah, I mean, and also the bathrooms are the main thing.
Yeah, the bathrooms are the main
And when you're using stadium restrooms, like they're already good anyway.
Yeah.
So
they're fine. They're not good, but they're fine.
They're better than porta potties.
Yeah.
So yeah. All that to say, that was awesome. I don't remember a whole lot about this day. Like I said, Ministry, Chevelle, Rammstein.
Those are the 3 I remember, and that's like I'm sure we walked around and probably saw Hatebreed and maybe The Devil Wears Prada, but we probably did not see Meshuggah, and maybe that's why I always thought like, oh, we haven't seen Meshuggah.
Yeah, I don't think we saw them there. I remember them a little bit, but I think it was year 2 again.
Yeah, and if it wasn't year 2, it was probably on the second stage. It was probably another one of those where we were just passing. There wasn't very often that we at Open Air that we actually watched the second stage. There was a few.
There were a few.
There were a few acts out of all the out of 2016 and 17 that we would watch, but the second stage for us was more just a passing by thing.
It was, yeah.
Like to go get beer because you liked the Headbangers,
which was right next to it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
We would go get beer for you. We didn't eat. We only ate there once, I think, twice. We got food there. Otherwise, we always did the sandwich before, and we had food in the hotel room.
Yeah, we would, to save money once again, we'd eat before going, we'd make a sandwich, and then we'd eat when we got back.
Yeah, so basically we didn't eat all day.
And then
we did get like fries
little
once
snacks
and like a hot dog once.
Yep. We got Kuma's once.
Oh, Kuma's, yeah.
Kuma's was like the pre-made burgers.
Yeah,
so it was like they had a fuck ton of them. You just grab the burger you want.
Yeah. You didn't like that.
I like Kuma's so much. Like their burgers are awesome, but I do so many like change this, do this, do this, do this. That it's not what you get on the menu. So like going up to one of these places that's already made, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, so. You can't be like, I want a Metallica with chicken tenders.
So out of this first day, like I said, those are the three bands
Yeah.
I remember. Rammstein, I remember a decent amount of their set.
I remember a lot of their set. Yeah.
They came out to Ram 4 is the song,
Yep.
I believe.
Yeah.
Um,
Is that where it counts down?
so
Or is the countdown just part of
I think the countdown's
intros?
just start of it.
Okay.
So, the curtain drops, the lights go on, whatever, and they start counting down, and you hear like the beep,
Yeah.
beep.
Yeah. I remember that a lot, and I remember being like so excited right then.
Same. And then it drops, and then you just have this like, I think it's just a drum, just like the drum starts kicking in.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, it's such a great song for them to come out to, I think, because it's one instrument. So then one person's out there, then the next person comes in, and it's like building up. So I think it's like drums, then flocka, then your guitars, and then at that point you have the two guitar players come down from the side.
I remember that. Yeah.
And it's like I can't remember if it was like shooting out sparks or whatnot. Then you have your bass kick in, and like everybody comes out one by one. So it's like an introduction for each member, and then it sort of just stops, and then Till comes out of the center with a top hat and fucking
Tap shoes.
tap shoes,
Yeah.
and just tapping away. And it's like, I would never think to add tap shoes to metal music,
Yeah.
and here they are fucking doing it, and it's like, this is awesome. I love this. I was also like, I've never heard this song before. Is this like a new song for a new album? Because I don't think they had released any new content for quite some time.
I don't know. Yeah, Rosenroot was sauce.
No, there was something after Rosemary. I can't remember the name. It's the one with pussy on it. It's all black. They're like sitting at a table eating, like somebody, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
I can't remember the name of that album. It's decent. It's not my favorite album.
Do we have it?
We do have it.
Oh, okay.
I've only listened to it a couple times. I like it, but it's one of those. Once again, it came out during that era where I wasn't really into
Right,
music,
that's true. That's true.
into metal music as
Yeah.
much. And I was like, "This is good. What is this? I don't know what this song is." It's basically what I picked up on is like, it's just them listing out all of their song titles. My favorite part though was when they took Book Dish and America and put those two together, like Book Dish America.
Yeah.
Because like Bend Over America or Bend Down America, something like that. That brought a little smile to my face. Like, okay. So I remember that, and like I loved that opening. I love how they came out to that, and it kept going up and up from there. One thing, they didn't play Mind Tile, and I really, really wanted to hear that song.
Right.
I was a little upset about
They
that.
didn't play very long. They only played for like an hour.
Is that it?
Yeah,
I thought they
I
played for a
remember.
while.
No, I remember it was like really, really short. Maybe an hour and a half.
Or were we just very excited?
Maybe we were just so excited that I was
and
like,
it just
I can't
blew
believe
by so quick.
Yeah, probably that. But I just remember it being, I just felt like it was so short. And then when it was over, it was like, oh, it's over.
Yeah.
Like now we see so many concerts that like I don't really get excited for anything. Well, I mean, when Rammstein came last year, I was super excited to see them. But it's like, we kind of know how concerts are going to go. So we don't really get disappointed as much. Maybe we do. I don't know. But I think that we were so excited to see it. So when it was over, it was like such a disappointment.
I mean, but once again, they put on such a show. Like,
Yeah.
And I knew Mind Tile was Flocka gets in the cauldron and they light him on fire.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see that. I wanted to see that little show bit. But yeah, I think they played Firefly also.
I can't. I don't remember their set at all.
I kind of remember that because that's where they put on the face masks and shoot fire out of their faces. Angla, I'm pretty sure they ended on Angla.
That's when Till came down, right?
Yeah, they put him in like the little angel wings, and he goes up and then like hangs over the crowd a little bit. And Du Hast, I remember that.
Oh yeah, I remember Du Hast, but I mean they have to play Du Hast.
Yeah,
they played America too, I think, right?
I don't think so.
I thought they did because I remember.
Maybe they did. Maybe they
Yeah,
did. Yeah, I'm kind of remembering that.
Yeah, I remember them playing America.
But
I don't remember like the order that they played anything.
I don't either.
I just remember being really uncomfortable in the crowd.
Really?
Yeah. But then again, this was our first concert back.
Oh, right. Oh, so
Yeah.
okay, I see.
So this is our first time back to concerts after 7 years. And when we went to concerts before, well, we went to like Valère, or not Valère, but we went to Valère a lot. But what's the event center?
Oh, Wells Fargo?
Yeah. And like that was probably the biggest venue or the most people he'd been around, which I don't even know what that is, like 10,000 people.
I don't know. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a lot more than Hell Air for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, this was probably 30,000 people.
It was a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I just felt really uncomfortable the first night, but then it got better as the whole weekend went on. I got more and more comfortable, but during Rammstein, I was very uncomfortable being in the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. It was our first time back, our largest crowd by far up to that point.
Yeah. And now I love I love concerts. I love being in the crowd in concerts. I think it was just that one night of like getting comfortable being around that many people.
And that's back like when I would still like be like super close to you, holding on to you the whole time, right?
Yeah.
But I also don't remember any moshing going on during Rammstein.
No, everybody was just watching.
I think
everybody was just watching. Yeah.
At least around us. Like I think it was everybody there was for the music and to see the show because it's a show.
Yeah. But I noticed that when Rammstein was here, because we were in the seats for Rammstein here at Soldier, and there wasn't much crowd movement there either. People were just, I mean, if you're going to see Rammstein, it's like you said, like they don't come that often. You're spending a lot of money to see them. It's like you want to see the whole thing.
Yep.
So you're just standing there and watching it.
And I do remember at the end of their set, they came out and were like, thank you. This was amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Like this was the only show they did here, right?
So I
that
can't
summer?
remember.
Or did they do 3? For some reason, now that I said that, I think that they did 3. I think they did the open air, or the Chicago open air. I think they did something in LA and maybe something in Texas.
That year?
That year. Like right around the same time. But that was the only time you could see them.
Yeah, I mean, right before this, we watched on like Prime, I don't know if it's still on there, they had like a Rammstein documentary. And they basically said Rammstein took a break from coming to the States, and their first show back was Madison Square Garden, which I think was the year before this. Or possibly. It was like that May or something like that. But it was a little bit before this because I thought the same thing where it's like, wait, no, their first show was open air. But no, I think it was Madison Square Garden and then...
But then they must have went home and then came back. Because,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I don't know. And somebody's probably going to correct us that we're totally wrong on that. But I remember it being very few shows here.
And they came back the next year and did a little bit of a bigger tour.
Yeah.
Because they went out to Tinley Park and we saw them again, which was awesome to see them again, but it essentially was the exact same show.
Yeah, it was. And seeing them at Tinley Park really sucked.
It did, yeah. But I mean, that's a different conversation.
Yeah, it is.
But that's about it for day one.
That's what I remember, yeah. Yeah. And then I remember walking home or walking back to the hotel.
I don't, that first day I don't. I remember it the last day, which we'll get to here shortly.
Yeah.
But
because I don't think we weren't able to get a car or anything back.
We weren't, yeah, and it was like, let's just walk.
Yeah.
And go from there. So let's go into day 2 then.
Okay.
Why don't you, who are we seeing day 2?
Okay. I need
Same concept. Start main stage, second stage, and we'll go first act down to the headliner.
I'm going to say this wrong. Saint Asonia?
Okay.
Is that right?
I don't know.
You don't know? Saint Asonia. And then the second one was Nothing More, Helmet, Pop Evil, Alter Bridge, Breaking Benjamin, and then Korn, and then Disturbed headline the main stage.
Of the main stage,
Yep. I remember Breaking Benjamin, Korn, and Disturbed that night. And then the second stage was City of the Week, Silver Snakes, Beartooth, Miss May I, Carcass, Deaf Haven, and Gojira. Oh my gosh. We said their name wrong for so long, and now I can't say it. Because I think we used to call it Gajoria or something.
Oh, I don't know.
You don't remember calling it?
I remember saying the name, but then once I learned Gojira, it's like it's always Gojira.
Gojira.
Because I remember that and people being like, well, it's Godzilla, and it's like Japanese for Godzilla or something like that.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And then whenever I see them or hear their song, I don't know who sings the song, but it's like, go, 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 Godzilla. It's like an old 70s song, 80s song. It makes me smile because every time I hear that song, I think of them, and every time I see their name, I think of that song.
Oh, okay.
And I badly want them to do a cover of that song, and I'm like, that'd be fucking hilarious.
So we got there, I think, right as the gates, like, we got there that day, like, as they were opening.
I think so. I think because it was like, we're paying the money. Let's go see as much music as we can.
Yeah. But to be honest, I don't remember a lot of the early day bands on either stage.
I don't remember anything from... nothing memorable from the second stage. This is weird as fuck to say.
I know. So when we saw Carcass, this year or last year. Sorry,
Ghost, right? They were with Ghost.
Yeah, so they were with Ghost, and then we saw them with Marth.
Yes, yes.
And when we saw them with Ghost, we are like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. We've never seen them before.
Yeah.
We didn't know who they were. Turns out that they were open air. So we must have, maybe just as one of those like walking by, the stage, seeing them play or something. But
I mean,
I didn't know that they were there until we put this together.
And the way the sets are here, right? Like the timing of it is your main stage goes on first. They get their 30 minutes. And then like 5 minutes later.
Yeah, they did give enough time to walk to the other stage.
And you would see this crowd of people moving between stage to stage. So there's plenty of time for us to go to each stage. Yep. And I feel like we did do that. But nothing is popping in my head of terms of like, I remember seeing these acts.
I remember seeing Miss May I, which is
why
I highlighted it. Yeah, and even after that, like I started following them on Instagram and stuff. I listened to them for a while after open air, but I haven't in the last probably 5 years.
Okay.
I haven't listened to them recently, but I remember really liking Miss May I. But then again, at this time in 2016, I was still only listening to like Disturbed and Linkin Park. Yeah. I didn't really go outside of that. But I do remember Breaking Benjamin, Korn, and Disturbed.
I remember Pop Evil. I remember you saying I like Pop Evil.
Okay. I probably did.
And I did too. Don't think I had heard their music, or if I had only a couple songs.
Yeah.
I liked their set too, but I haven't really listened to it much since.
Since then. Yeah. And we did see, we didn't see them. We heard their music, Nothing More, this last summer at Upheaval when we were sitting on the hill at Upheaval. But like, then again, during that, I was like, oh, never seen them. Like, I want to see them, that sort of thing. But we must have saw them, or at least part of their set. See,
and this is where things kind of blend to me, because I remember it being Pop Evil, Seether, Breaking Benjamin, Korn, Disturbed. Seether was there for year 2, not year 1.
Okay.
So, like, it's sort of blending together to me, where it's like, which we'll get to all of that, but I completely forgot about Alter Bridge. I remember Breaking Benjamin. I remember Pop Evil. Korn, I remember their set was awesome. Yeah. Seeing Korn. Yeah. And then, of course, Disturbed came out and fucking killed it.
Night 2, the crowd was a lot more active.
It was a Saturday. It was hot as shit that day.
It was hot.
The sun was out and beaten down.
So hot, yeah.
And if you're drinking all day, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, it was more rowdier. I enjoyed it a lot. It was great.
Yeah. I mean, but I don't know if it was that the crowd was more rowdy because of those things, or if it was like what we said, like they wanted to listen to Rammstein or watch Rammstein.
Yep, exactly.
But then things did pick up, which I liked. Honestly, I mean, I think that was the first time we'd been in a crowd like that, where before, like if we even went back in like 2009 and earlier, like we would always kind of stand off to the side or off to the back. Like we would never be next to a pit. And I remember being next to pits. And
so I remember there being pits, but not that many pits, honestly. What I remember is crowd surfing, which...
Oh, that was Sunday night. That's what
was that Sunday night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But there was pits during Korn and Disturbed, I remember. Because at that time, I would record the whole Disturbed set.
Oh, okay.
And like people would be bumping into me, and I would be kind of irritated because I'm like, I want to record this. But I do remember crowd surf for Saturday as well. But Sunday was there were a lot huge pits and crowd surfers. Yeah.
But like crowd surfing was like the thing. I had never experienced crowd surfing before.
No. Because in Iowa we never like went to a venue that they did that.
Yeah, it just never really happened.
Yeah,
I don't remember it being a thing back then.
No, like I've seen it obviously on like
it definitely was a thing.
But like in Iowa, I don't remember that happening.
I remember pits and like no crowd surfing really back then when we were going to shows. And I remember at first hating it because you'd be sitting there, I'm watching the show, and all of a sudden I'm getting kicked in the fucking back of the head.
Yeah.
But honestly, I kind of enjoy it. It's kind of fun. I learned quickly, like you have to look behind you, and if you see somebody, just reach out and tap the person in front of you.
Yeah.
And like point up.
It is like a big work together type thing.
Yeah.
Where like you do have to kind of like, well, especially, I mean, for me, like I'm shorter, so like I'm gonna do nothing if some guy's coming over. Like, what am I gonna do? So it is like a big thing of like, find the bigger people, like tap them on the shoulder, like, hey, help out, sort of thing, like help this guy get across, sort of thing.
And everybody just instantly like, oh shit, all right.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
they're all helping out, and everybody's like,
Yeah.
It was weird when women came over because I was like, I'm not trying to touch
Yeah.
you or do anything, and if I do, I'm sorry. Like it was kind of weird for me. Like, oh fuck, I don't.
You don't know what to do.
Yeah, and it sucks. And there's one moment I don't know when exactly. Like, a girl like fell, and I ended up like catching her, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Your crotch is in my face, but you're upside down, and if I let go, your head's gonna. And then she just like puts her hands up, and I slowly let go, and she like crawls out, and then taps the guy in front of me, and then boom, she's back up and keeps going.
Yeah, it didn't face her at all.
No, and like even people who get dropped, it's you see somebody going over, and then they just disappear.
Yeah, and then they're right back up.
2 seconds later, they're like up, but they get up, and then they're thrown like 20 feet ahead. Like it's
yeah. I mean, we'll get to Sunday, but I remember that was Sunday because there's so many pits open. People were just getting
thrown in the middle of the pit.
Which is, it's funny now, but like at the time, it's like,
yeah,
that probably wasn't funny.
And it was new to us, so we're like, I don't know what the appropriate like.
Well, we weren't throwing people in pits.
No, but like just in general, like
Yeah.
the whole concept of crowd surfing was new to us.
Yeah.
Like I said, it pissed me off at first because it's like I can't enjoy the show now.
Yeah, it is a different way of watching the show then because you're not really watching the stage. You have to pay attention around you.
Yeah, but to me, that's kind of the fun of it.
It is fun.
A live show is like this particular crowd. We've done this before where we've seen a band at different venues at different locations on the same tour, and the crowds at those different places are different.
Yeah.
The way they act, what they do, the rowdiness of them, and maybe it's the day of the week it is, or maybe it is just this is what this crowd is doing at this moment. Like, it is different, and it makes the shows unique. It makes the shows fun. Like it is a blast. I enjoy it. I enjoy that now.
I think that's the whole thing. Is like how we had seen shows back in Iowa. You don't have this mentality of like crowd surfing and all that stuff, but now we enjoy it being here.
Yeah.
Or having bigger crowds. So. Anything else about
day 2? No. Korn. I remember this was our first time seeing Korn. It was the first time seeing a lot of these bands.
Yeah.
This day I think I only
remember
Disturbed we've seen before.
Yes.
And day 1
we hadn't seen anything.
I don't think we'd seen any of those bands, right?
No.
So like so many new bands that we get in like bands we didn't know, like getting introduced to them. Obviously, not all of it stuck.
No.
But I remember having a blast this day. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I think I do remember Breaking Benjamin being on, and I was just like, I'm ready for them to be done. Like I was ready to see Disturbed.
Yeah,
because I'd been there for Disturbed, and I was just like, I'm done with this. Like let's get to 9:00 so I can see Disturbed.
Yeah, Breaking Benjamin to me is what we call laser music, or basically radio music. Which isn't bad.
No.
They put on a great show.
Like
great
I enjoyed
set,
them
great
this
music.
last summer at Upheaval.
Yeah, same. Like I said, great music, great show, great all of that. But it's something I hear on the radio a lot. You don't hear much Disturbed on the radio a lot, at least growing up. You heard a lot of Korn. So it was great seeing Korn for the first time. They put on a much better show than I expected.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I wasn't the biggest fan. I'm still not the biggest fan of Korn.
Yeah.
I like them, but their set was amazing. I had a lot of fun during that.
Yeah. I think seeing that got me into Korn.
I think so.
Before that, I really didn't listen to Korn except for what was on the radio, and I like them. I mean, not a lot, but
I think so.
I listen to them now.
I remember you saying you liked Pop Evil, Breaking Benjamin, and Korn.
That's funny that I didn't like Breaking Benjamin.
You didn't?
I thought you said you did. Benjamin.
Oh, you just said that, yeah. But I thought you liked them. You just were done with them and wanted.
I could have liked them, yeah. I don't remember my comments back in 2016, but.
So.
Day 3.
Why don't you tell us who was there?
Jim Bauer, or is it Brewer?
Jim Brewer. Okay.
Jim Brewer and the Loudy and Rowdy. I don't know. Jim Brewer. All That Remains. So Asking Alexandria was on the bill, but we'll discuss that. Bullet for My Valentine, Marilyn Manson, Five Finger Death Punch, and then Slipknot headlined the main show,
Yep.
or main stage. And then the second stage, we had Gemini Syndrome, Upon a Burning Body, We Come as Romans, Let Live, Corrosion of Conformity, Baby Metal, and Killswitch Engage.
Okay.
Is on the second stage.
Baby Metal I thought was night one, and I thought
okay.
we walked into...
Baby Metal?
Yeah, I thought we walked in... Because, like I said, they were the second stage, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I thought they were on night one, and that's when we walked into the venue after getting off the bus and dropping our shit off and walking back to the stadium. So I swear to God I remembered that first night, but once again, it's all blending together.
Yeah, yeah.
I did want to
remember
see them, and I think when they were on, we spent time at the beer tent, and we were just sort of hanging out under there. We did, for them.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, you went and got a beer, and we just kind of hung off to the side and watched them. Yeah, I remember that.
And Killswitch Engage, we had seen them before with Disturbed way back when.
We went and saw them.
We did go and see them because that's where they had the different lead singer.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Their original lead singer, I think.
Yeah.
Which I was like, oh fuck, I like the other guy, but I like this guy too. So it's like,
yeah. And then we were able to see the other singer this last year. Yep. With Light the Torch.
With Light the Torch, right?
But yeah, so I do remember this day we did a lot of jumping back and forth.
Yes, we did. Yep.
We went back and forth a lot because we wanted to see what was on the main stage and then the second stage. So the first 2 days, the first day I know we didn't do that. Like, we went and explored a little bit that night, but we mainly stayed on the field. The second day, I do remember walking back and forth between as well, but I don't remember staying at the second stage to watch anybody. Where the third day, I do remember, like you said, Baby Metal and Killswitch Engage. The other bands I don't remember seeing.
On the second stage or all together?
Second stage.
Yeah, same.
But I know that day we did do a lot of jostling back and forth between.
Yep.
So.
And We Come as Romans are going to be touring again here real soon.
Yep. This will go up after that, but.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we will have seen We Come as Romans at the House of Blues here, in Chicago. I was like, I've never heard this band. I didn't know they were a band. Apparently they were a band way back then.
We had seen them, yeah.
So.
And I'm sure we checked out their set because, like I said, we were moving around a lot that day. So, but I do. Asking Alexandria was on the bill, but I think it was just announced that morning that they couldn't be there due to visa issues.
I do remember that. Yep.
Yeah, and which was kind of sad that it was such a late announcement because there was even like a lot of people there with Asking Alexandra's merch on or like shirts on and stuff. So I didn't know who they were, so I wasn't too sad about. Or I knew who they were from the radio, but like I wasn't excited to see them. If that makes sense.
Are they on the radio?
Yeah, I've heard them on the radio.
Oh, okay.
Because we saw them with Disturbed last year, Godsmack last year.
We did.
And I remember a couple of the songs.
Okay.
And so, I mean, it had to have been from the radio.
Or streaming.
Or streaming.
Like, gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe streaming.
I guess radio now means streaming.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Jim Brewer.
I do remember Jim Brewer, too.
Because I know he's a comedian, and I know he's really into metal. I didn't know he had his own band, but it wasn't just music. There were a lot of comedic bits.
Yeah.
Is this where we first heard, like, the old home,
people. Yeah,
like the retirement home mosh pit? Is that where we first heard it?
Yeah, that's where we heard it. And then, but now you can find it on like YouTube.
That
part
joke,
of his set. Yeah. But where he was like, "We're all gonna be in a retirement home with our wheelchairs in a mosh pit." Yeah, we'll join in on that.
Bullet for My Valentine, I don't remember.
I don't remember them either.
Marilyn Manson, I remember.
Yep.
I was super stoked and excited to see Marilyn Manson. Again, to me, it was like Rammstein. You're going to get good music and you're going to get a show. Like, he's going to put on a show. And he did, but it fucking sucked. Yeah. It was not good.
Yeah.
He was basically, I think he was just drunk and pissed off.
I think he was pissed off, yeah. I don't know about the inebriated or anything, but he definitely was pissed off.
And it definitely impacted his performance, I thought. Like, it was, and I didn't know why he was so pissed off. So, I mean, I was like, this set sucks.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be so much better.
I didn't like it at all. And
I was excited for you. I was like, you're going to love this. It's going to be a show. You're going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember, other than him being pissed off and it being a shitty set, was the point where he like shoots his money out of a cannon.
Oh, I don't remember that.
And it rained, like Ghost does the same thing
Yeah,
now with their
yeah.
currency. Marilyn Manson did the same thing.
Oh, okay.
So I was super disappointed and pissed off about that. And then Five Finger goes on, and I was excited for Five Finger. I had heard a few of their songs, streamed them and whatnot, and loved their shit. And they come on, they put on a great show. But you probably remember the exact same thing I do, which was
like they were like I don't even know if it was right at the beginning or when it was, but they were like, our lawyers are better than his lawyers or whatever. Or we have better lawyers.
He never mentioned a band, but it was basically like
we have better lawyers.
Some people are pissed that we're higher up on the bill.
Yeah.
All I got to say is we've got better lawyers than you do. Something along those lines.
Yeah, that's probably more what it is. I just remember the whole, we got better lawyers. And then we were like, oh.
That's why.
Now we know why Marilyn Manson was pissed.
Because Manson was touring with Slipknot at the time, I think.
Yeah.
Which is when we sort of realized how festivals probably work, where.
I don't think we realized it here. I think it was a couple years later we realized it? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, because it basically seems like, and we've noticed it more and more, where it's, this band is doing this tour with these 4 bands, and this like band B is doing a tour with these 4 bands. Let's basically take those 2 tours, combine them into one day, but then you have 2 headliners, and it's like who's gonna be ahead of who's gonna be the second opener, like second on the bill, third on the bill, all that kind of stuff. So I guess when you're dealing with egos and whatnot, it can get kind of challenging and hard.
Yeah.
From a fan perspective, I didn't care who the fuck was first or second. I think the set times were the same.
I think they were the same at that point. So I don't know what the whole thing was either.
And at the same time, like neither one of you are Slipknot, so you're not headlining this fucking show. So shut the fuck up, play your music, put on a good show for the crowd, put your ego aside, or like don't bother showing up to get paid. I don't know what the fuck to say. Like it was a shitty performance from Manson, and I'm pissed because that's the only time we've seen him. And
we won't.
I expected I want to give it another shot because I want a good show.
Is he touring though?
I don't know if he is, but like maybe not. All the shit going on.
Yeah.
But at the time, none of that was around. You didn't know any of that, and it was like, maybe I won't go see him. I don't know. I mean, the whole thing is like, I expected so much, and it was like, oh, it's like if we went to go see Rammstein and expected such a hot show,
and then
they just came out and like played a few songs and bitched, and then like left. It's like
I'm done.
Fucking Christ, dude! Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I'd never seen that. I mean, granted, we'd only been to, I don't know how many concerts before that, but maybe like 10. But like, I'd never seen a performance like that. And I was just like, oh, this is.
I hadn't. And you hear stuff like that, especially like, I know Axl Rose did a bunch of that back in the day and maybe still today. I don't know. But like, just throwing a fucking pissy fit over stupid fucking shit. Like, Jesus fuck, grow up. I guess I'm still a little pissed about that.
I can tell.
That irks me.
One thing I was gonna say is, like I do remember leaving Five Finger and then going to see Killswitch Engage and then coming back. I think this was the only night that we did that though, where we like left and came back.
Yes, we wanted to see Killswitch Engage because they put on an amazing show too, and it's like fuck, let's go check them out.
Yeah. So, but otherwise, I know the night of Rammstein or Friday night we stayed on the field and we didn't like leave and come back. And then for Disturbed, I know we stayed because I was like, no, I'm staying here for Disturbed. But I think the energy on the field was so great between Five Finger, because there was energy for Five Finger, and then people went and saw Killswitch, which had energy, and then came back for Slipknot, and I think that's what made that Slipknot so good.
Yeah.
And what I mean by so good is like, one, Slipknot put on an amazing performance, and then also the crowd was so into it, and like we had already mentioned it, but there was so many crowd surfers, so many pits open, like everybody was just helping everybody else or everybody out. Everybody was just having a great time. It was fucking amazing.
I remember before Slipknot went on, we're sort of standing there, and I felt like I was gonna pass out.
It was hot.
It was hot. I think I was dehydrated.
Probably.
All I had done was drink at that beer tent, which one of the few places you can get shade. So grab a beer, sit in some shade for a little bit, go see some music, go back, grab a beer, sit in some shade for a little bit, go see music. So basically every time we were at the second stage, you were in that beer tent.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you kind of learned that you needed to drink water.
Yeah. But I just remember standing there like looking up because the crowd has started to pack in too, because second stage is over. Everybody's now coming to see Slipknot. So it was starting to get packed in a little bit, and I just remember being hot, and I honestly felt like I was going to pass out.
Oh, I didn't know that you were feeling that bad.
It was.
I remember being really, really hot.
But then once it started, like all that went away. Like I don't know if it's like finally we're moving around, we're getting some air movement,
or just your mentality, or like you get distracted, so then you're not thinking about
maybe. But I do remember that. I don't remember much of their set.
I don't remember their set either. I just remember it being fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Is that when they crowd surfed the beer guy? Was that during Slipknot?
I don't remember that either.
You don't remember them crowd surfing the beer guy? Oh, I remember. So during open air, they would have like people come with like the buckets of beer, like what they have at like baseball games and stuff, and come around and like selling beer through the concert. And I remember at one point, like he's crowd surfing and his bucket of beer is like on his belly, or like not a bucket of beer, but it's like the tote thing.
Yeah, the giant totes they have with ice and beer and all that. Yeah.
It was fucking awesome.
I love this. It was great. It was a good way to end the 3 days.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't remember the Slipknot set that much from them. We've seen them a number of times now. They always put on a killer show. I just remember again they're fucking awesome. They put on a great show. This was a great fucking experience at our first festival. I was very pleased and very, very happy. With
I could I was already excited for year 2 at the end of this set.
And had they announced year 2 by this time?
So. I don't think so.
Or was it sort of like we'll see you again next year, like on the screens? Like I know sometimes they do that.
Yeah, I don't think they had actually announced the dates or anything at that point.
But they said we'll see you again, maybe.
Yeah. But do you remember at the end of Slipknot how it just started raining?
So it was coming in. You could see it behind their stage, behind the set. You could see like the storm clouds coming in, and it wasn't right after. Right, it was a couple minutes.
We hadn't even left the field yet.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I remember it started raining when we were still on the field.
Oh, I remember getting downpoured on walking back because once again
I remember because it was so fucking hot, and I remember it starting raining, and I was just like standing there on the field like.
I do remember, like, oh, this is so nice. Yeah. We like huddled under a few, like this area of Bridgeview is very industrial. There's a lot of warehouses, a lot of semi trucks coming in and out. So there was like no place to hide for like shade or not shade, like shelter from the rain. So I do remember walking home trying to find that, and maybe meeting up with a couple fans also.
Yeah, I think they were out. So I remember like we did find like I don't know, it was like an entrance to one of the buildings or something. We just like huddled under, like there was a lot of us under there waiting for Ubers, I think, or like lifts or whatever.
And we got one, but it canceled, or did we get in?
No, there was a couple things. So we tried to get a taxi. They would only take us to the airport. They wouldn't take us to the hotel that was just down the it was like 4 miles or 3 miles down the street, but they wouldn't take us there. They would only take us if we went to the airport. So we're like, okay, fuck you, sort of thing. That was the first time I ever tried a ride share, which I tried Lyft.
Oh, okay.
And they canceled on us, and I have not used Lyft since.
Same thing, yeah. It was like a shitty experience.
So I think they charged us $5 for that or something because they canceled. They said that we weren't in our location. I'm like, no, we've been standing here this whole time. And then we've waited. We started walking again. And then we ordered an Uber to take us the rest of the way. And I felt so bad getting into that lady's car because we were like so
That's right. I do remember
so
that.
Gross.
And she was like super cool about it.
She was, yeah. So yeah, that was the end of year 1.
Yeah, and like so fucking good.
Yeah. We're so ready for year 2.
Okay, so that's year 1. I did not think we were gonna talk this fucking long.
I knew it was gonna take a long time. We talk a lot.
Oh yeah, we rambled way too fucking much. So we're gonna break this up. Each year is probably gonna be an own episode. So this is part 1 of 3. Check out next week for the next episode. Hope to see you there.
Bye.